Hey guys, Coach Logan and Coach Caitlin here, back again for some mobility for the week. This is week 5 or week 1 of February. So we had our test week last week with 3 of our movements. We're going to build up again through the month, and we'll have 3 more test movements at the end of this month. So our first movement that we're going to do, again, starting always with the hips. We are going to start with another cars today, so just some controlled articular rotations. We will start to get up just a little bit so we're make sure. With a quadruped hip cars today. So we did a line hip cars last month. Now we're going to do a quadruped hip cars. So starting over here with the left leg, we'll start in this quadruped position, making sure we keep a flat back. Make sure we're not arching through the spine, we're keeping a neutral spine. We will start bringing this left heel up towards the sky. That's going to get this back hip back into some flexion. We're back into some extension, making sure we're not arching the back here, feeling the glute activate. From here we'll hold, we will come around slowly to the side, keeping both arms locked out, keeping this shin parallel to the ground, feeling that hip abduct and then rotate up to the side in an external rotation. We'll hold here, and then we will slowly bring that leg back out to the back, getting that hip back up into some extension, keeping that spine neutral, and then we'll come all the way down to the ground. We will do 5 on each side. We're going to show you 1 on each. So we'll turn around. We will show you that left side or that right side. We'll show you a different angle this time, just so we can kind of see what it looks like. So again, starting here on the right, we will bring this right leg all the way back up into some extension, keeping that spine neutral, coming around to the side so you can see what it looks like from the front. Again, we have a parallel shin to the ground, keeping both arms locked out. We'll hold here. We will come back around to the back, keeping that hip into some extension, that spine neutral, and then we will come all the way back down. So your hip movement for the week is a quadruped hip cars, moving that hip through its rotation. So moving down to the spine this time. So we will start in a seated straddle position, so that wide leg position, legs locked out. Some of you might have a difficult time just in this position. If you do, just brace the hands behind you, keep the chest tall, turning towards the leg that we're going to. You're about to see what we're about to do. So moving through the spine. So spinal flexion and also spinal lateral flexion. So we'll start going over to that left foot, keeping the torso opened up towards the front of the room, pulling that top arm across. In this case, it's the right arm, getting that spine to bend laterally as much as possible. We'll hold this position. We will come up. We will come over to the right side. Again, keeping that torso pointed in the opposite direction of the leg. Feeling all the way through that side body and lat stretch out. Again, getting that spine to laterally flex. We will come up in the middle, and we will come down in the middle, keeping those toes pointed to the sky, hopefully letting that lower back round into some flexion a little bit, and then we will come all the way back up to the top. We will show you 1 more of those a little bit faster, but again, you'll hold each of these positions. We'll go over to the left, getting that spine to laterally flex to the left side, feeling the right side body, coming over to the right, and then we will go back down in the middle, getting that spine to flex forward. And that is your spine movement for the week, just some spinal movement from that straddle position. And then the last one we will do, we will start, what we're doing, yes. So we'll start up into the shoulders, back into this child's pose position. So toes together, knees slightly spread so the torso can fit between it. Sit the hips as far back as the knees will allow. Getting that spine to extend, getting the shoulders to flex up overhead. So from this position, just a shoulder angle, 1 at a time. We'll press the opposite arm into the ground as we pick up the left arm here. We will hold this position as we rotate back slowly all the way around, keeping that shoulder flexed up as high as possible, letting the shoulder rotate into as much internal rotation here in the back. We'll hold this back position. We will come back around and out slowly, keeping it as far off the ground as possible, letting that shoulder rotate naturally. Thumb should be pointed up at the top, and then we will come back to the ground. We will flip around. We'll show you 1 from the other side, and then we will show you a little bit more difficult of a version of that movement. So again, child's pose position. We will start again this right arm. We will pick it up, thumb pointing to the sky, come back around slowly as we tuck up the back once we get there, up into some shoulder internal rotation, and then we will come back around slow. All the way back around to the front, letting that shoulder ball and socket joint rotate as it naturally does. So if that's easy, if you can do that, no problem. We will turn sideways and we'll show you the more difficult version of that. So instead of a child's pose, back and forth just a little bit. we will get into the puppy pose. So all this is we'll bring the hips a little bit more forward, walk the hands up a little bit too, until those hips a little bit more forward just slightly. What that's going to do is scoot the hands up just slightly. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yep. So what that's going to do is that's going to arch the back more. It's going to put more flexion on the shoulders. It's a much more difficult position for the shoulders, but if you can do the first one, let's try the second one. But it's the same thing, a shoulder angel from the puppy pose. So butt is much more high in the air. On this one, we will pick up that left arm as we press the right one into the ground. We will come all the way back around slow. We'll do this one a little bit faster, but make sure you take some time doing this, at least 10 seconds, and then we'll come back around slow to the front. We'll stay on the same side. We won't turn around as we show the right hand doing the same thing. Up, around slow, tuck up the back, and then back around the front. Again, very similar to the first shoulder angel, just from a puppy pose instead of a child's pose that pulls the hips up and pulls the shoulders back into some more flexion. And those are your 3 movements for the week. Have fun.